Folks, welcome into the show. Saturday, April 14th, 2018. This is the closing line Major League Baseball edition. I'll be your host today, Donnie Rightside, with my partner in crime, Jeff Nadu. As usual, a lot to go over. Some interesting stuff, Jeff, going along all over the sports atmosphere at this point. NHL, NBA gets underway, full Major League slate, a lot of weather conditions that you're going to want to check in on. It is early Saturday morning, 11 a.m. East Coast. Hey, 8 o'clock, Jeff, out there on the West Coast. Let's start this game up and get it going, Jeff. How you doing today on this glorious Saturday morning on the East Coast?
Doing pretty good, Donnie. How are you, pal?
Hey, no complaints here. Just ready to get started. Should be a nice day, Jeff. Even though yesterday we got a little taste of like 79, 80 degrees, we'll get another taste today, and then they're going to drop that hammer on us again tomorrow morning, Jeff, and put us back somewhere in the mid-40s.
Yeah, 48 degrees, something like that. Yeah, it was nice yesterday. Very nice. Donnie, last night I went to my weekly barber appointment. It was like 11 o'clock at night. It was like a little taste of a little wind, but it was nice. It was, yeah, a very nice night. Yeah, you're gonna get back to the 40s though, and low 30s at night.
Yeah, which is great. Tomorrow I don't have too much to do, Jeff. Have a family party and a communion party to go to this afternoon and have a scheduled haircut. So, hey, maybe I'll be able to sneak in a cigar. Maybe I'll be able to sneak in some alone time for myself today as opposed to being with the family and the wife and all over the place. But, hey, we'll forge on and get ready. Last night, Jeff, just take a quick peek in Philadelphia area for us. Flyers got a nice win. Hockey was underway. Vegas got another victory. But today, Jeff, before we get into the baseball card, I know you're excited. A lot of people excited. I'm excited. The NBA playoffs, the long NBA playoffs, which seems like they're going to take about 6 months to complete as they do every year. But I'm pretty excited about the NBA today. How about you, man?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it myself. We haven't had competitive basketball in this town for a while, but really all the series are pretty interesting. I mean, whether it's Golden State, San Antonio, or New Orleans and Portland, or wherever. I mean, Eastern Conference stuff. It's a good slate, and the NBA playoffs are normally very good. I'm looking forward to them. Donnie, I'll have to send you a video. I'll be live from the Wells Fargo Center. How about this, Donnie? 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. That's
Beautiful.
baller right there. That's fun. I'm sure it'll be fun down there. So, yeah, Donnie, let's get into it. Welcome into everyone out there listening. Hit the like button, please, and share the show if you can.
As we always do, folks, yes, we do appreciate the retweets out there. I just retweeted the live link. We'll have a lot of fun on the show. We've done this show a lot, Jeff. I know you did it in college football, and as well as me and you did it both in college basketball. We'll be here all summer long on Saturday, setting up that long card for the weekend, Jeff. But always, before we get going, we always like to take a quick peek back at yesterday in Major League Baseball, just to set the table for today, maybe some anticipation, because the series are already underway. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, typical Major League Baseball, Jeff. Philadelphia picked up a 2-1 win yesterday over the Tampa Bay Rays. If we're looking at Atlanta and Chicago, one of the things that you bring up, Jeff, I know you root against it, but it's pretty hard to see the Cubs at home continually to not play well.
No, this team's not that good. We have to stop putting them on this high horse every year because they went out and got Yu Darvish. They go out and get somebody else. Yu Darvish has struggled. He struggled in LA. He struggled near his career in Texas. Again, it wasn't necessarily Yu Darvish yesterday. It was this poor offense that can't score runs. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're a solid baseball team, but they're going to have struggles all year. It was an issue last year. It's going to be an issue this year, and I'm not sure that they don't have the John Lackeys anymore. They don't have Kyle Hendricks is pitching well, but he's not at the level he was when they won the World Series. I mean, you're going to have regression, and they've seen it. I mean, look at Anthony Rizzo. He's injured right now, but before he went on the DL, I mean, he was having a terrible season. It's just been a tough year for a lot of the Cubs, and yesterday was a prime example.
No, you're right about just sliding it down. St. Louis over Cincinnati. I mean, that doesn't really surprise you too much. The Reds are going to take a lot of beatings this year. But another one that's kind of interesting, Jeff, Colorado's stepping out and getting another victory over the Washington Nationals. Nationals all of a sudden can't hit the baseball. I know a couple guys are on IR on that club there, but a 2-1 loss yesterday for the Nationals, because the reason why we want to bring up the Nationals, Jeff, is there's one team in the NL East that continues to win, and that's the New York Mets. 6-5 winner yesterday with Max versus Davies on the mound. Doesn't seem like the Mets are slowing down anytime soon, Jeff.
No, and they come right back today with my boy Matt Harvey on the mound. Yeah, and then they've been fantastic. I mean, you look at home, they're 5-1, hitting 274. Their pitching's been very good as well. They've been able to really kind of tighten teams up. You look at this bullpen as well, Donnie. Fantastic. 1.57 team ERA at a bullpen. WHIP about 1.2, 1.12. This is a really good bullpen that has really been able to fly in and really not kind of go hand in hand with their rotation. When you have a rotation and a bullpen pitching at a high level, you're hard to beat, and the Mets have obviously been evident of that. We'll talk about it in a little, but I'm probably going to come right back at them today.
No, yeah, I mean, why not? We always talk about, Jeff, what, riding the hot hand at this point? Why not just take them? The same thing we'll delve into again, Jeff, when you take a look, struggle a little bit early on, but a good lineup is going to hit. That's the LA Angels traveling to Kansas City. I saw a lot of bitching and moaning, Jeff, from somewhere in Lancaster County last night that they were leaving a pitcher in too long. But lo and behold, the team pulls out a victory. That's another team where if they're under 150 right now, Jeff, sometimes it's hard to fight the urge. Sometimes you just ride that hot hand.
I don't think you're talking about me. I don't think I was doing that, was I?
Weren't you bitching last night about something in the Angels game? Somebody's horrendous or horrible? Or was that another thing?
No, that was Chris Tillman, who is terrible. And he was bad. No, I had the over, team total over with the Red Sox, and I was just highlighting how bad Chris Tillman was. No, I didn't mention. I didn't have that game last night. But yeah, look, the Angels continue to find ways. They're another team that, like the Mets, are just finding ways to win. The Angels can't really seem to do anything wrong. I mean, they had, the Royals had opportunities, but they weren't able to cash them in. And yeah, the Angels and Mets are rolling, Donnie.
Yeah, you're right. We'll pick up maybe one or two games. We'll get started on the card today, Jeff. Boston 7-3 victory over Baltimore yesterday. Hamels and that huge underdog. They hung tough for a while, down 2-0, tied it up with 2-2 with a couple solo blasts in the seventh inning. But Houston does prevail. Garrett Cole, another double-digit strikeout game, Jeff. And then on the left coast out there, Arizona and the LA Dodgers. Dodgers take another loss at home. Arizona takes them down, Jeff, 8-7 yesterday.
Yeah, I had Arizona plus 130, and I'll tell you what, they really tried to fuck me. I mean, it was 7-2. They ended up winning 8-7. They really tried to relinquish it, and no surprise. I mean, it wouldn't be a night without Arizona's bullpen trying to fuck things up. That's one thing you have to keep in mind. I have to stop playing full games with Arizona. The bullpen is not good. Rodney's gone. Look, when you're pitching, when you got guys in the bullpen like Jorge De La Rosa, you have a major issue. Which, by the way, Donnie, I've told you the story before about when I got in a fight with his wife, right?
No. First of all, if I didn't hear it, I know a lot of people haven't heard it out there. So please go ahead and get this one, though.
Basically, when he played in Colorado, I had bet on a game that
Did you add him, though, Jeff? Did you add him, or was she surfing out there just looking for names?
No, I literally just typed in. I think I remember typing in Jorge De La Rosa.
She was ready.
Bomb. And I didn't add him or anything. And like an hour later, I get this comment. This woman named Marie De La Rosa, and I'm like, the fuck? She's like, that's my husband. He's a great. I said, listen, lady, I'm not I'm not degrading him as a father. I'm just saying I don't think he's any good. And like she started shredding me, and I gave her respect. I mean, it is her husband, so I get it. But
yeah.
But that's not this. I had actually Rashawn Holmes. I had his mother reach out to me. She wasn't happy with my comments on him. I've had a couple mothers or wives reach out. But yeah, she wasn't happy. But he sucks. I mean, De La Rosa, what do you want from me? He's never any good. But yeah, I got to start betting first fives at Arizona.
No, you got it. Why don't we start off today's card, Jeff? We'll get it right down the list as we usually do. Since you come on at 11 a.m., we have some time out there. Don't have to rush through that, 1 o'clock start time. So let's go right down rotation, Jeff. 1:05 p.m., 9:01, 9:02. It's going to be Colorado and Washington. We'll see if Washington get back on the right track today. What better way, Jeff, to get back on the right track than throw Scherzer out on the line versus John Gray? If we take a look at their first couple starts, both of them, Jeff, had 3 starts. John Gray overall a 5.62 ERA, but much better on the road, Jeff, at a 2.45 ERA. If we look at Max Scherzer, what does Max Scherzer not do, Jeff? 3 starts, averages 6.7 innings per start in the early season, 0.9 ERA. If we look at the numbers here, 79% going with the Washington Nationals, 77% of that money going with the Washington Nationals. Line opened up at 202. Pinnacle now sitting at 209. Chris opened up at 210. That sits about 206 right now. So not much movement for a heavy favorite. The problem, Jeff, is Scherzer going to pitch well today? Are the Nationals going to get him some support?
Yeah, I mean that's the big problem. I mean, I feel like they can get some off of John Gray, who hasn't particularly been good in his several career starts against Washington. John Gray throws hard. Again, if he's it's not it's more or less about how you can place your pitches and what kind of pitches you have. But for me, look, I'm probably leaning Washington just to win, but I have no interest in betting it. I'm not laying 205. I don't really want to lay the run line with them. If I had to play it, I guess kind of right now I'm interested in the under maybe, but I'd prefer to get 8 here. 7.5 is a low number. But when Max Scherzer pitches, it's generally a low scoring game. I'm not a big fan of the Rockies on the road. There's just not a lot of interest for me in this game at all. I want to take Washington, but I don't really trust them to win by 2 or more runs right now. And I guess if I had to play it, I'd lean under 7.5. I could see this as like a 4-2 game, 3-1, something like that. Just not a ton of value for me.
Yeah, this thing we do is checking in Rendon out for the Nats, and obviously, I guess it was Adam Eaton also out on the DL, still waiting for Daniel Murphy. So not a great lineup or not a great hitting lineup there, Jeff. I know with Max Scherzer on the mound, always interested in taking like a run line or usually like a parlay wager if you're that type of gambler. You know me, Jeff. I don't lean on both of those, but it's just a matter of fact for me. I know what I'm getting out of Max Scherzer today, but can they scrape together what 4 or 5 runs to get this done fairly easily here? Max Scherzer, you could probably count on him as having a pretty good outing there down in Washington. I don't really have too many
It
leads in
wouldn't
that, but you're right. Go ahead.
it would surprise me if this is literally, Donnie, 3-2 going into the
Yeah.
eighth or ninth inning and you need a run if you're on the run line. Like this will be a one-score
Yep.
game, I have a feeling, for most of it. And I'm just not really looking to get involved in a game like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or 3-1 in the top of the ninth, and they just let the guy take second base and a blue pit single. Nobody really cares about except you because you
Yeah.
have it, and ends up at 3-2. I agree. Those games figure like they come down the line awful, or excuse me, a lot. 9:03, 9:04, Jeff. A 1:10 Eastern time. Start here. Mikolas versus Reed. I believe Reed was a late substitution because a lot of other odds boards still had Finnegan listed as the starting pitcher here. But Reed, the lefty, is going to go on the mound. We just saw him in Philadelphia, Jeff. Not a lot to like about this guy taking the mound. And I know you always say, who the hell is Mikolas and why is he favored in games, Jeff? Well, if we take a look here, it's the Cincinnati Reds. He's going to be favored regardless, as long as you're going against the Cincinnati Reds. Taking a look, Jeff, 35% of the tickets are only backing the home team here, Reds. Line opened up at 125, sits at 126, so not a lot of movement there from Pinnacle. If we take a look at Chris, Jeff, they opened up at 35, actually dropped it back to 24. So I guess, we're going to say, hey, why not in the state of Ohio? We love to hit the Cleveland Browns. Why don't we just get sharp money and just back a same Ohio team in the Cincinnati Reds? Over under, Jeff said it, 9.5 in this one. Boy, it's hard. I mean, I get it. I get it. Sooner or later, it's a Major League Baseball team. They're going to have to win games, Jeff. But sometimes looking at the Cincinnati Reds, maybe it's just better to pass at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, they're pretty bad, and you're getting Finnegan here making his debut this year. It seems like all you ever deal with is debuts and young pitchers for Cincinnati. They just don't have much there to get excited about. I mean, Homer Bailey was your opening day starter for God's sakes. I mean, yeah, there's some decent players in the lineup, but they just seem like they're spaced too far apart. Billy Hamilton's not getting on base necessarily. That's been a problem. But yeah, I mean, I'm really not looking to lay $1.30 with Miles Mikolas. Matheny believes that Mikolas is better than he is, and he may be. This probably is the lineup to get going against. Gun to my head, I take St. Louis, but again, another game. I'm not really. I think it's important in sports betting when you're, you know, as far as the bottom line is concerned, there's 365 days of betting. I'm going to go ahead and guess that probably 360 of them you have action on. Those days, you maybe take 5 days off a year. Most people, I know I might take more off, but I think it's important that not only are you winning, but you're avoiding losing. And I think a lot of people will probably bet St. Louis just because they're $1.30 against Cincinnati, and people look at win loss and stuff like that. And while win loss is important, it's not indicative of a baseball team. They just could be unlucky and that kind of thing. The Reds are bad, but how good are the Cardinals? They seem to always screw up in situations like this. They don't ever seem to get any sort of separation. And this kid pitching is a young pitcher who, isn't particularly trustworthy. So for me, this is a game I'd avoid. It's important to avoid games, not just bet to bet. I don't see any really reason about it.
No, I hear you there. No, you're right on that. It's just one of those things where you want to be sharp, or you want to say I want to take a home dog, which I like. I can't argue with you. I like home dogs because again, it's harder to win on the road than it is at home, and those statistics hold up time and time again. But when you're just looking at Cincinnati, sometimes it's tough to play teams that just don't play good baseball at this point. And we know St. Louis is going to play pretty much a fundamentally sound game, so it's a tough one if you want to take the dog in that instance. Next up, Jeff, 220 start here. We're going to go 905, 906. Atlanta and Chicago. Newcomb and Quintana, the battle of the lefties here in Wrigley. 64% of those early tickets, Jeff, coming in on the Chicago Cubs. Opened up at minus 169 at Pinnacle, now sitting at 175. Chris opened up at 175, now sitting at 170. So not a lot of line movement that you would like to take a look at here in those instances. But again, only about 2,500 tickets have been tracked in this one, Jeff. Newcomb comes off a 6-inning shutout in Colorado. That's a pretty impressive feat. Atlanta looking good early in the season, a couple games over 500. The opposite here for the Chicago Cubs. 2 starts Quintana's had. 6 innings he averages, 3 earned runs per game, 4.50 ERA. Rizzo out of that lineup, Jeff, one of those key cogs. Sometimes they just can't seem to get it together until those hitting conditions come up. Are we looking to take the Cubs here at this monster line at home, or do you say, yo, Atlanta's a game team here, they can win this ball game?
Yeah, I'm gonna lean Atlanta, frankly. I just don't really want to lay 170 with the Cubs. I don't think they're that good. I don't really see a price on why they should be 170. Sean Newcomb's off a nice start. You got to think for confidence. That's going to help him, especially out in Colorado. I just think at a price like this, I'm leaning towards the Cubs. I don't like them in these kind of spots. Quintana is a guy that, in his career at Wrigley, I mean, he's not been great. I mean, he's 5-0, but he has an ERA at almost 5 since being traded there. Newcomb, good young left-handed pitcher. Cubs have struggled in the past against lefties. This lineup's just not particularly good. Good stat there from this thing we do. Cubs 1-8, Donnie, in day games in the first 5. That's good stuff. That's really good stuff, actually. Yeah, I mean, maybe you do want to go first 5 here just because maybe you don't trust that Atlanta bullpen. I'll tell you what, Donnie, what can we get on the first 5 plus a half? It's got to be around even money, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I don't have. I could get you the first 5, but I don't have the first 5 half up there.
Let me get that
no,
first 5.
Yeah, it would be around there. Yep, you probably would be getting maybe a plus 105 somewhere in that range. Sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go plus 105 here.
No.
Or actually plus a
I'm
half
guessing
minus
on that, but
105.
minus 105. Okay, yep, I thought it would be around there. Yep.
Yeah, I think they can have the lead or even I think this is a close one after 5. I mean I think with the Braves right now I'll take a shot with them. I like Newcomb. He's pitched pretty well. This lineup's been okay as well. I'll take a shot there.
Yeah, Louis brings up, you guys talk about the Washington, Colorado game. It's the first one we did. There's some interesting stuff popping up there. Welcome Charlie Blackmon back to Major League Baseball today, Jeff. That should help him out, but me and Jeff both agreed on that one. Kind of tough to take the National, even though we think Scherzer's going to win. If you're saying, hey, you have a free bet on the money line, of course I'm going to bet Max Scherzer at home, but laying a run and a half, just to try to get that line down a little bit lower, or throwing it in a parlay, it's always a little bit tougher to do on that one, but that one we did go over earlier, Jeff. Interesting one coming up here next, the night game, Jeff, 907, 908. Jameson Taillon's going to be on the mound versus Richards down in Miami. If we take a look, I mean, what more do you want out of Jameson Taillon? Great kid, great pitcher, beats cancer, comes back, looks like he has a great start to the season already. 7 innings pitched, he's averaging a 1.26 ERA. And then we take a look at Richards, Jeff, stellar in his first home start, right? 4 innings pitched, 5 earned runs. Overall through 2 starts, his ERA 8.64 with a terrible lineup behind him. But we're also talking about, who would have thought, Jeff, that we'd be laying, in that range of 160 or 170 on the road for the Pittsburgh Pirates coming into the season here. But it just goes to show you, Jeff, when you have a bad baseball team, it's not about staying close, right? There's no point spread technically in Major League Baseball. You have to win the game. And if you're going to put your cold, hard cash down now on the Marlins, buyer beware.
Yeah, and here's the concern with Trevor Richards, who in 2 starts has only went 8 1/3 innings. I've read that he's trying to refine his changeup. Now, what that means to me is he's trying to screw around with pitches in the middle of starts, and he's going to be all over the place, and he's got no idea really his goal and what he's looking to do. That's a concern on a bad team that already isn't going to win many games. At this point, the Marlins are really throwing things in the face of their fans. I mean, you're throwing guys out there that don't even know what they're doing. These guys that that don't belong up here. That are, I mean, refining pitches. You're a fucking big league starter in his first career start. Refining pitches. Go down and fucking Double A and do that. What are you
Yeah,
doing that
go
up
play
at the
for the
major league
jumbo,
level?
Jeff. Go play for the jumbo shrimp in front of an mate. You know what, Jeff? Maybe they're on to something. Maybe they play with the Major League Baseball because you don't need to get in as many fans and pressure that you would playing for the jumbo shrimp, right?
Yeah, I mean, he should just refine those pitches down there. But hey, I mean, at least you could say, well, we got major league starter Trevor Richards pitching tonight. He pitched for the Marlins in a couple games. Yeah, I don't get it. I would go Pittsburgh here. I think they win, and I think they'll win comfortably here. I like Tyone. He's pitched well. Last night, Pittsburgh struck out, but again, they're not going to win every game. It is what it is. I'm looking to probably lay the 1.5 runs here with Pittsburgh. I'll even though Donnie though. Look at the first 5 minus a half. It's only 115.
Yeah, come on.
I'm
Yep, you're right.
confident.
Yep, there you
I'm
go.
confident that Pittsburgh will have the lead after the first 5 innings here. This Richards guy, I mean, he may not even be in. And last night, night after night, that bullpen's going to wear down a bit. These starters aren't going long. Give me Tyone in the first 5 minus a half.
No, it's a good call by you, by the way, because I just had the bullpen statistics up. Pittsburgh, not a great bullpen there. So if you really want to maximize on what I like to call betting in a vacuum, Jeff, we know who's going to start, right, for Miami. We know who's going to start for Pittsburgh. We know the starting hitting lineups for both teams. Tyone comes out of the game or pitches well. They just don't hit that well. You would figure they'd be up maybe 1, 2, or 3 runs after 5 innings. Why even mess with it, man? And again, Jeff, if it goes 0-0, you just say, hey, they just couldn't hit it, and you live with it. I like the game plan you got there on the first 5 innings.
I mean,
we'll keep it moving. Yeah.
Donnie, refining your pitches in a major league baseball game is like when you're an NBA player and you say, well, I don't really like how I'm shooting free throws. I'm going to try it a different way. Why? I mean, the way you're doing it is you got to do it over the course of maybe the summer when you're not,
Yeah. How about late November, December, January, February, and all through spring training, and maybe you stay behind in extended spring training so you can refine your pitches. But it's not a major league organization right now for the Marlins. I guess that's what, hey, get out there and work on your pitches in a major league setting. That sounds like it's going to work out really well for the Marlins.
Yeah, right. Quality of direction there down in Miami.
All right, Jeff, here we go. Now, these are the games that I like early on in the season, right? Here we go. 9:09, 9:10. It's a night game up in Flushing Meadows there. I like to still call it, Shea Stadium, even though it's not Shea Stadium. Milwaukee and the New York Mets, Jeff. You're going to have Anderson versus Harvey on the mound. 61 of those tickets coming in on the Mets. The Mets are absolutely red hot and on fire. Line opens up at 131 at Pinnacle, 135 at Chris, Jeff. Now we're looking in the low teens, minus 114, minus 112 showing up across. Matt Harvey hasn't been that bad. He's had 2 starts, one good one to open the season, one a little bit rougher last time out. Chase Anderson's 3 starts. He's been good, including 1 road start, Jeff, that included 6 innings pitched and a shutout. So you're going to get a good pitching matchup here. But one of those where you say, with the Angels and the Mets, red hot, ride the ticket, it looks like some people are picking their spots and saying, you know what, Milwaukee's got a shot here. Jeff, do you ride the hot hand at home? Or you say, you know what, I'm going to try to be on that sharp end and pick when they're going to lose their game?
Yeah, it's an interesting conundrum and one that I'm happy you were able to flush out. You're usually very good with that. Listen, I mean, Chase Anderson's not been bad. He just hasn't really gotten any run support, and that's been the big issue for Chase. Matt Harvey, though, I've mentioned I like Matt Harvey. I think he's going to be a guy who can make money all year. But you make a great point. Guessing when they're going to lose, I feel like you just ride the Mets until they lose. If you lose tonight, you lose $1.12, $1.13. It is what it is. I think with the way they're playing, they're just coming up roses. I mean, Donnie, if they're down 3-2 going into the 7th inning, bullpen comes in, they can lock it down. Without Yelich right now, the Brewers have played well. They're 500, but this could be an ugly rearing of the head where all year Chase Anderson struggles to get run support. We see it time and time again with pitchers. Cole Hamels had a problem with it his whole career in Philadelphia. Certain guys just have run support issues. Max Scherzer has it at times. I'm going to just ride the Mets until they lose. Just is what it is.
Yeah, no, because, Jeff, we like to say sometimes in gambling, at the end of the day, Jeff, you didn't lay $1.80 in that game. You didn't lay $1.50, $1.40, or $1.30. If you lose, you basically lost juice on that one. So you know what? It was a hot team. Sort of like jacking up that 35-foot three when you made three in a row. Just want to check it, and if it doesn't go in, no harm, no foul at that point. But I agree with you there on the Mets. Sometimes you like to ride it out, but I do like Chase Anderson. We'll see what kind of pitcher we get out of Matt Harvey. But the Mets have been game. They're on fire. They're winning. They're at home. It's exciting. Nice weather there up in Flushing Meadows. So at Citi Field, you might even see a good crowd there up for the Mets today. So that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Let's head out to the left coast, Jeff. 9-11, 9-12. Going to be a battle of the lefties, the San Francisco Giants and the San Diego Padres. Going to be Holland and Richard on the mound, Jeff. Both pitchers a little bit shaky to start the season. Holland overall through his 2 starts, ERA of 4.09 in his 1 road start, Jeff, that he had a 5 innings, and it looks like it was 3 earned runs in that one. Richard at home, 2 starts, averages 6 innings pitched, a 4.50 ERA. If you saw last night, nice win for the San Diego Padres. Both teams under 500 in the NL West in this one. If you get to look at some tickets in the game, Jeff, 53% are going to ride the road team here. The San Francisco Giants. Line opened up at -111 in the favor of the Giants, -115 at Chris in the favor of the Giants. Right around a pickup now, depending on where you're shopping out of. Not a ton of runs. Look like they're anticipating with an 8 with both of these pitchers on the mound. Both of these bullpens have been pretty good, Jeff, here. What shakes down in San Diego today?
Yeah, I hate to do this. I don't have much in this one. I think it's a bit of a toss-up. Listen, I can't bring myself to bet on Derek Holland, for God's sakes. Derek Holland has just been a bad pitcher for many years. And Richard has struggled as well. I just don't see a ton of interest in this game. I have a feeling it'll come down to the bullpens, and at that point, you're really guessing. Because I'll tell you what, I mean, San Diego's bullpen's not terrible. They still have guys like Brad Hand in there, and I think they still have Kevin Quackenbush and guys like that. So I'm just not getting a good enough price. If I'm getting plus 128 on the Padres, I would definitely take a shot here. It's a toss-up game. You're getting plus money, but I actually have to lay $1.08. Yeah, no good. I'll pass. Pass in Giants Padres.
Keep it out there, Jeff. In the state of California, a 9-10 start tonight. Arizona and the Los Angeles Dodgers. If you're looking on the rotation, that's 9-13, 9-14, 56% of the tickets going on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Line opened up at 48 at Pinnacle, Jeff. Now up to -170. Opened up at Chris at -150. Sitting now at -165. So some money coming in here on the Dodgers. Taking a look at the 2 pitchers here. One live arm guy. Nice young pitcher, Taijuan Walker. Still waiting for him to round in the form and be a little bit more steady. Going against the crafty veteran there, Rich Hill on the mound through 2 starts. Rich Hill averages 5 innings pitched. That's not a surprise there. Throwing a lot of curveballs, a lot of slow fastballs out there. Usually gives you that 5 1/3 to keep in the ball game, to hand it over to the bullpen. He's been successful with that. At home, Jeff, 6 innings pitched, no earned runs given up in his only outing. On the road for Taijuan Walker, Jeff, 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run in this one. We'll see if the bats wake up again like they did last night for 15 runs. But if you're looking from a total perspective, Jeff, pretty low, sitting at 7 across the board.
Yeah, I'm looking over in this game. I don't really know that I understand the total. I mean, Rich Hill's good, but I don't think he's good enough to garner a 7 total. I mean, they've hit him in his career. Arizona has done pretty well against him. Walker, you mentioned it. He has really rounded into form. I mean, he's off a real good start, but he's had a ton of trouble in his career against this Dodger team. With a number at 7, I'm looking over. I'll tell you what, I've done some good things betting against the Dodgers early on in the season as big favorites. They weren't even a big favorite last night. I still bet against them. With Greinke at plus 125, 130, I'm going to take that. In this game, though, I think we'll see it again go over the number. I think the Dodgers will get into it a little bit with Walker. They've like I said, pretty good numbers against him overall. I think his ERA is over 6 against them career. And Rich Hill, 1-6 with a 5 ERA in his career against Arizona. So he's had some struggles at times. One in particular last year where he went 3 2/3. He gave up 6 earned runs. I think we'll see some fireworks in this one and get over a small total of 7.
No, you're right about that, Jeff. We always like to have a little bit of break in the action out there, Jeff, because I know you read this and I know you want to keep us up to date on this. But, coming back home, babies being born, waiting outside the emergency room to get in there. Khloe Kardashian, Jeff, forgives Tristan Thompson, and they're back to being a happy couple. Your quick thoughts on this one before we get back to the baseball card.
Well, I mean, look, it is disheartening if you're, if you're, excuse me, Donnie, I'm choked up about this. Sorry.
Yes. Yes.
No, listen, I don't co-sign what Chloe's done. Listen, you have to be willing to walk away, especially with multiple transgressions by Tristan Thompson. To blame the side chicks, you know, that's weak. I mean, this is a grown man who has went into hotels with women and stuff like that. She's making excuses for him at this point. But I will say this, and I'm not saying I would do this. I'm not saying any of us would either. But she sees true love. I don't know. Maybe she feels that they can get past this and it's just a bump in the road. Many people have it. I don't think they have it at the level of this. Um, do I fault Chloe for taking him back? No, but this is not the first time she's done this. She took back Lamar Odom. That was a failed relationship. She's taken back Tristan Thompson. That might be a fair relationship. But when you have a kid with someone, it's a little different. Like you're willing to give them a longer leash as far as letting them do things. But I mean, let's hope he's smart enough to not let this happen again. Listen, if I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm getting him in a room and saying, listen, you need to wake up. You need to stop whatever you're doing. Listen, I get it, but if you're not happy, divorce, get out of that. Would say this: if I'm Chloe, you just had a kid. I mean, you can't. What are you going to fight with the guy? You have a young child at home. Um, he knows what he did. We'll see if he blows a second chance. I'm kind of numb on it. I don't
By the
hate
way,
the
Jeff,
idea.
you ever see the movie Get Out, Jeff?
I have not. No, I've been meaning to
Yeah,
watch it. I
like
have not.
I won't give any of the things away, but a lot of people out there probably seen the movie Get Out. It seems to me like the Kardashians are a little bit like the Get Out family, Jeff, which we're leaving that up to. You could probably make an idea there in the chat box what I'm getting after. Getting the black guys, bring them in, and doing some things, and this is the way they get out. So Kardashian family probably Get Out 2 might star if you were the Kardashian, Jeff. Recommend the movie highly. Fantastic. I loved every minute of that movie, Jeff. You ought to check that one out.
Yeah, and again, I'm not going to go down the road. I've made it clear I respect Kardashians. I think what they've done is pretty amazing. And at the end of the day, they're rich and they have done some amazing things. But yeah, listen, I mean, she's a beautiful woman. She's obviously the mother of his child. I don't know. Who knows? I'm sure she won't forgive him again, though.
Yeah, you'll like it, Jeff. Get Out tonight. Tune into that one. Let's get back to the baseball card, Jeff. A lot to talk about. By the way, to keep you updated on two games today, Jeff, already. 9:17, 9:18, 9:19, and 9:20. Back-to-back games. They have been postponed. That's the Yankees and the Detroit Tigers and the Chicago White Sox and Minnesota Twins. Both of those games now off the board, being scheduled at a future time for some doubleheader action, I'm sure. But let's get to 9:15, 9:16, Jeff. Up in Boston, a 105 start. Cobb, welcome back to the mound. His first start there for the Baltimore Orioles versus Hector Velasquez. 4,300 tickets have been tracked, Jeff. 60% are going to lean on the home team here. The Boston Red Sox line opened up at 164, now down to 151. Chris opened up at 65, down to 155. So some nice movement there for Cobb's first start for the Baltimore Orioles. If we take a look, obviously Cobb doesn't have any stats. One start for Hector Velasquez coming in, Jeff. 6 innings, 1 earned run. Who wakes up here for Boston? Or does Cobb come out? Now, the one thing I don't know, I didn't read up too much behind the scenes on Cobb, Jeff. I don't know if he's on a pitch count or not, but good to see the guy back here. I liked the addition of Cobb to the staff of Baltimore to try to help them out. It's a stiff price right now if you're going to take Velasquez, but I might think that might be factored in how long Cobb might be going today.
I think a good thing for Baltimore is Cobb is good in Fenway. He's done very good there in his career. So that's something that you obviously want to always have. Drew Pomeranz, when they signed him a couple years ago, he did not have good numbers in Fenway Park. And first couple starts, he had some trouble. This is a big line, Donnie. I mean, you're getting 140-ish on Baltimore. Yeah, I'd like that. I don't like Baltimore. I don't sometimes want to get in bed with them on the road. I prefer them at home. But with Cobb, with the success there, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go first 5 with Baltimore here. They're another team that I tend to stay away from bullpen wise. I want to face this Velasquez. I want Cobb. I want to deal with him. I don't want to deal with that bullpen. So I'll take a shot here with the Baltimore Orioles on the money line in the first 5. I think they'll get to Velasquez a little bit. This is obviously the weak link in the Boston Red Sox rotation. I'll take a flyer that they can have the lead here. I thought they'd be better last night. They obviously weren't. But Cobb's their man on the mound. I'd take a shot here with Baltimore.
Jeff, Matt Varnum chiming in there. I think we got him hooked on this as well. Something that we've known for a long time now. And it looks like with the amount of money he makes, Jeff, we all know for a long time how good Chris Davis looks at the plate, Jeff. And again, we have a fun on the right side of campus during the week with a lot of top fives, and you know it's going to resurface very quickly here. The top five guys you don't want up at the plate with second or third and one out at the plate. He is one of them there, Jeff. And I watched it last night. The guy that I always have a tough time with also, because I like to watch Oakland baseball, just for some reason they're always on late at night. You know, when Crash Davis gets up at the plate out there, similar name, which is kind of funny. With Chris, almost identical name, just different spelling. Chris Davis in Oakland, second and third, one out. It's boom or bust, and that hurts, Jeff, especially when you are a gambler and you say, look, brother, make contact here and we get a run. And it's like 1, 2, 3, right down the middle of the plate. They can't touch it, and they get sat down. Take a minute, Jeff. Just explain the little Chris Davis phenomenon when you bet on them.
No, there is no phenomenon. He's complete shit. He's a complete wanker. He's awful. I mean, he's literally going to get paid until he's like 55. I mean, it's amazing how stupid Baltimore is and how they actually gave this hack that amount of money. Chris Davis is complete and utter shit. Not shit, shit. That's what he is, shit. He's garbage. I can't believe he's given the money he has. I have to look at what he's hitting this year. Oh, ooh, he's up to 111, Donnie. He was at the 0.80 mark for a while. Now he's up to 111. He has one home run in 45 plate appearances and has an on-base percentage of a faulty 231. Christ almighty. Yeah, they just won't bench him, though. Donnie, before we get to the next game, I do want to shout out to this guy in the chat, Hoops590, who continues to come in these chats and just shred shit. Burnley always covers. Hey, dude, there's still 10 minutes left. Why are you calling games before they're over? I mean, I really don't need that today. I'm not doing well in some of the lower leagues. I got a plus 160 that I really need here. And the last thing I need is you coming in and saying the game's over with 10 minutes to go. When will this fucking phenomenon stop?
Oh, God, Jeff, the other team just scored, too. Damn it. Wow.
Well,
Do you believe me?
If it no, I don't
No.
believe you, but I'm actually watching it. But still, stop. Stop doing that.
All right, let's get back to some baseball, Jeff. 4 o'clock, 9:21, 9:22. Toronto and Cleveland, Jeff. Jaime Garcia, may he pitch another 15 to 20 years in the Major League Baseball. Looks like it's altogether possible versus Corey Kluber on the mound, Jeff. Coming into the game, road starts. Only one for Garcia. One start, obviously 5 innings, pitched 3 earned runs. If you look at Kluber, what else do you want from him, Jeff? 3 games, an average of 7.7 innings, obviously close to 7 2/3 in that respect. A 1.57 ERA. Only had 1 home start, Jeff. Only went 8 innings and didn't give up a single run. Therefore, as we get into the ticket count, 71% back in Cleveland, Jeff. 224 it opens up at. Now sitting at 237 at Chris. If we take a look at 230 at Chris, they're open, Chris opened 230, goes to 240. Pinnacle 224. That's now 237. Heavy line for Kluber. There's very few pitchers that deserve these heavy lines. He's one of them just because of how damn tough he is to hit at home at this point. I know it is a high number. I'm a money line player. I wouldn't be playing this game. I wouldn't even be doing run line in this game. It's just not my thing, Jeff. Your thoughts on this game? Kluber, almost as sure as it is to go out and dominate a baseball game. But when is a line too high? Is this line too high for you there?
No, I'm going to lay the run line. I don't have a problem doing that. I'm a big run line guy when the situation warrants. And, we've talked about it, Donnie. Cleveland's starting to hit again. Here's my problem, though, with Cleveland. It seems like once you start believing in these shitheads, then they'll stop hitting. So I'm going to hope that they do. They still scored 4 runs last night, which is pretty good along the lines of how they've been doing. Last couple games, they've figured it out a bit. Let's hope they can keep it up. I don't need 5 or 6 runs. I just need 2 or 3 and need Kluber to hold it the hell down. Thing you gotta love about Cleveland, generally, Kluber goes deep, bullpen comes in, shuts it down. Blue Jays are off a big-time offensive performance last night. You have to figure that won't happen again tonight, just because they don't normally have any consistency offensively. Josh Donaldson now out. Edwin Encarnacion's long gone. So this is a lineup that does have some struggles. I would lay the run line here with the Indians.
Yeah, no, that's one of the guys who went back over under. Looks like Jeff that Chris now dips to 6.5. So not anticipation of a ton of
Wow.
runs here. Let's flip it over. We'll go down to Houston, Jeff, 923, 924. A 4 o'clock start there. We're going to have Mike Minor on the mound versus Charlie Morton. 74% of the tickets on the home team here, Houston Astros. I like to make a joke, Jeff. You know how like every time Eric Thames would hit a home run last year, they would test him for growth hormone and HGH. Let's start testing Charlie Morton here, Jeff. Through 2 starts, 6 innings pitched on average, not a single earned run given up. If we take a look at Mike Minor, he's been good as well. 2 starts, 5.5 innings. He averages 2.53 ERA. If we take a look at the totals in this game, sitting at 8.5 as it opened up. 8 now, Jeff, across the board. So not a lot of runs anticipated here. Opening line minus 205 now seeps up to 225 at Pinnacle. Opens at 210 at Chris. That sits at 235. That's an expensive number for Houston to cover. But Morton's been unbelievable to start. Are we going to fade him yet and say maybe Jeff, his xFIP is a little bit high or something like that? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, this is Charlie Morton continues to just dazzle for some reason. Um, I mean, what do you say? I mean, he's only allowed one earned run. He struck out 13 and walked only five. I think you're right. Maybe he needs to start being tested here. But it's the Astros. It seems like everything they do works. Mike Minor is a starter in baseball. That's surprising to me at this point. Mike Minor kind of looks like you know, you ever, Donnie, this is kind of random, but do you ever like go to a mechanic shop and it's always interesting because even though the mechanic has work to do, he still finds a
Mm-hmm.
way to always come out and like greet you and he's like, hey, how you doing? You want to
Yeah,
do
he's got
something
the
with
handkerchief wiping off oil on his
me?
hands. Yeah, good.
That's Mike Miner. Look at him. He looks just like that kind of guy. But yeah, I don't know that I trust Michael Miner as far as this game. I don't really have an opinion. I'm not laying 235 with Charlie Morton. It's a pass for me, Donnie.
No, it would be for me as well. That's a lot of juice to eat in that instance there, Jeff. 925, 926. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Garrett Richards going to take the mound versus Jake Junis. 2,300 tickets have been tracked, Jeff. 54% are going to line up with the road team here, the Angels of Anaheim. If you take a look at the numbers, and hey, look at this, Jeff. Pinnacle opens up at 42, now sitting at 163. Chris opened up at 45, now sitting at 165. So obviously riding the hot hand. Richards through 3 starts, a 4.20 ERA. It looks like he's going to keep you in the ball game at this point. Junis, Jeff, 2 starts, not a single earned run giving up, average of 7 innings pitched. Line is racing towards the Angels here, even with a good young hot pitcher for the Royals. Maybe sometimes, Jeff, the lineup is just too much to overcome. And can the Royals hit in certain situations to keep them in this game? What are you looking at here? Because, Jeff, looking at that line, that's a high price to pay, minus 165 for Garrett Richards on the road, not even at
Yeah,
home.
I'm taking the Royals in this game. I
Yeah.
like Junis. I believe in Junis. He's been good. And Garrett Richards has struggled a bit with command. 15 innings, he's walked 12 batters. That's just too many. I think this is the game where the Angels will finally lose. You got Otani tomorrow, so you have to figure they'll lose tonight and win tomorrow. I like Junis. He's been very good. He flirted with a no-hitter in his last game against the Seattle Mariners. At this price, I'm all over. What's this guy's name? Jacob Junis.
Junis,
I
baby.
like
Come on.
lock it
All
up.
right, we'll keep it moving down. Yeah, we'll keep moving down. Jeff, 927, 928, and 9 o'clock start on the West Coast. If you watched last night, the MVP was on the mound. It's not his fault, Jeff. As Donovan McNabb used to say, I left. When I was out of the game, we had the lead 3-2. Bullpen collapses for Oakland. We're going to get back to it today. Graveman and Gonzalez on the mound. 34% are backing the road team here. Oakland, obviously, that leaves 66% of those tickets for the home team here, the Seattle Mariners. Nelson Cruz expected back in the lineup for the Mariners. That's a pretty big addition in that one. Line opened up, though, Jeff. 129 in the favor of Seattle. Down to 106. 130 at Chris. Down to 107. So we got some line movement here lined up on the road team here with Kendall Graveman for the Oakland Athletics. As I said again, Cruz coming back. Should have a nice lineup in there for Seattle. Seattle looked good last night. Hey, when you beat the MVP when he starts, Jeff, you're going to be on a roll here. So Mike leaning at a cheap price for Seattle. It seems like it would be like a home game price for Oakland, but it's not. It's in Seattle. See what happens.
Now let me ask you something. What the hell is up with that shirt you're wearing? I didn't even see that
Tricks,
until
man.
now.
Yeah.
What the hell
Yep.
is up with
Tricks
dude?
for
You're
MVP.
obsessed with that
And how you
fucking
gonna dis?
Andrew
How you gonna
Turner.
dis? How are you going to disrespect me and not even look at the screen and even know like I'm even here as your partner?
I actually don't even look at it half the time. I'm looking at like stuff online and stuff and trying to keep up with the show. I got,
Oh, that's
I'm not
hold
one
on,
of
Jeff.
these.
Hold on. Hold on. Here's where I butt in and say, Jeff only reads screens. He doesn't even do anything else.
Well, it's not as easy for me with basketballs comes a little bit more natural. I got to look up stats with certain pitchers. Some of these guys
I'm
I've never
busting your
fucking
balls.
heard of. Like I didn't know shit about Trevor Richards until recently. Yes, nice, nice shirt. I like it without the trigs for MVP. That's lame. But
I
yeah,
figured
as far as
that's
in
the
this
whole reason
game,
I put it on. Yes, go ahead.
I know, I know. As far as in this game though, Donnie, I got to go over the number. I mean, it's an 8.5. I can still get 8.5 at 5 dimes. I
Mhm.
mean, Kendall Graveman is pure garbage. I mean, I don't really want him. I mean, he's allowed 4 runs in each of his last starts, or more. So, yeah, and Marco Gonzalez, I don't trust either. Yeah, these lamps kind of busted out last night. I think it was 7-4 or something like that. I don't see any reason why it's not a pretty high scoring game here. All we need is 4-4, Donnie, and it's a winner. I think this one will get up and over. I don't like either rotation or either bullpen. I think we'll see some runs here in Oakland, Seattle.
Couple minutes left. Let's hit this last baseball game and maybe surf a little around the NBA to tip off the season, as we like to say, the extracurricular activities known as the playoffs. Jeff, 9:29, 9:30, 6 o'clock. Philadelphia Phillies pulled out another win yesterday in Tampa Bay. Gabe Kapler pulls all the right strings with the bullpen for once, and the Phillies come away with a victory. Interesting matchup here today, Jeff. I'm glad this is the last game. Jake Arrieta, Chris Archer on the mound. 65% of the tickets, Jeff, going to back the Philadelphia Phillies right now in this game. Line opened up at 118 in the favor of Tampa Bay, actually creeped up to minus 125. Chris opened up at minus 110. That's at minus 124. So despite more tickets coming in on the Phillies, that line is racing towards Chris Archer. Both of these pitchers, Jeff, if you look at their numbers, we watched Archer in his last game, Arrieta in his last game out. Struggled in the first inning, got it going over the next 3 innings, pulled early. The Philadelphia Phillies ended up losing that game. But if you look at Archer, Jeff, that one start at home, 6 innings, 4 earned runs. But on the season, he's been doing about that. A 5.94 ERA in this spot. Is it a great spot for Arrieta here to win? Because the Phillies didn't technically bring their bats on the road. Is it a great spot for Tampa Bay, Jeff? They don't really bring their bats much either. If we're taking a look at over-under, I know it's pretty low. 7.5 at Chris, 7 minus 120 at Sportsbook. Maybe an under might be the play. Maybe an under in the first 5, so you don't even have to deal with these bullpens, Jeff.
By the way, Donnie, Miss J, liking
Yeah,
you
how
in the
about that?
chat.
Yeah.
Hello, Miss
Thank you.
J. We don't see many women in here, so welcome in.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as this game, I'm leaning under. I think both these pitchers will dazzle, Donnie, dazzle. I think Arrieta, if you see him in the second half, first round of batters, he struggled a bit, but he started to really lock in. And Chris Archer, I think, is obviously much better than his numbers indicate. He should have a ton of trouble against the Phillies. I think this is a lower scoring baseball game, but not one that I'm going to have my money on. I'll kind of just look to pass. But I think it's probably a lower scoring game. But a total at 7, it's hard to ever buy in generally to an under. Have you been watching Jersey Shore? I watched the first episode. I haven't watched the second. It's just not really that interesting to me anymore. I mean, when I was younger, look, when it first came out, I don't know how old, Donnie. I was like 18. I mean, again, I mean, I'm not 18 anymore. I don't, I used to be at Karma and Bamboo and those places, but I don't know. I mean, they all have kids now, Donnie. They're all married and
Yeah.
I remember Snooki when she was a skank running around Seaside. Uh,
People.
she ain't like that anymore. Yeah, situations, shooting horse tranquilizer up his arm. It's not like that anymore.
No, you're right about Jeff. That's going to conclude the baseball card today, Jeff. Let's use our time wisely. We have a couple minutes left here in the show. Why don't we flip over to the association? Yes! And talk a little basketball here, Jeff. 4 games on tap today. An interesting Saturday. Nice weather to watch, Jeff. Our hometown Philadelphia 76ers. As Tom McGinnis would say, Jeff, what? What would Tom McGinnis say right now?
Um,
Get
he,
excited!
he would say, I don't know. I'd have to think about that. Yeah, he would say, not coming in for a landing, but he usually says this a lot. And he actually said this a lot when Drew Holiday was around, but I think it still makes sense now because for us it is the holiday season. He made this comment one time on the air. He goes, "It's the holiday season, boop de doop." Like he would always say that, like when Drew Holiday would do something good. But it is the holiday season around here, and yeah, I'm excited for the Sixers today. The question is, do you lay points in this matchup? Um, I'm concerned a little bit about this one. I think the Heat and Sixers will be a good series. As far as in this game, um, I don't know. I mean, you got to lay 6.5 here. I mean, all these games, Donnie, this year have been close. I mean, my guess is this is a close basketball game. It comes down to the wire, but it's hard to envision close games with the Sixers right now, just because
Yeah.
they
At
have just
home.
dominated teams. They can really feed off this atmosphere. And when I tell you, this atmosphere is going to be heavy, man. This is the first
Yeah.
playoff game in a long time in this town. It's beautiful weather. It's Saturday night. I mean, it's going to be a really fun atmosphere down at the Wells Fargo Center. And I think the Sixers generally will feed off that. You get Joel Embiid coming back here soon. Um, it's a real tough game. I'm probably looking to play the first quarter, Donnie. I don't do that
Yeah.
ever. But one thing we've noticed this year is the Sixers have covered first quarters at a very high level. I think they feed off the energy, maybe jump out to a, I don't know, 28-21 type of lead in the first half, first quarter there. Maybe you look towards the first half too. I think the Philadelphia 76ers come out on fire in this matchup, but I got a feeling towards as the game goes on, it becomes a little closer. I think Sixers will win, but it's hard to lay 6.5. As far as plays that I've made, Donnie,
Mhm.
I did take the Rockets to sweep the Minnesota Timberwolves at plus 170. If you look at all the matchups this year, they really just took it to Minnesota. I got a feeling Minnesota's just kind of excited to be in the playoffs, and that's about that. That is one future that I'm on. I do have the Sixers as well in a future 35-1 to win the whole thing. Donnie, quickly, as far as series prices, I just wanted to go over those quickly with some of the listeners. Just fire those
Sure.
off
Sure.
quickly. Um, I think the Spurs can win a game or two. I don't think this is impossible that they can hang in this series. Warriors are not the same team without Stephen Curry. And again, I'm not laying 1 to 10 on the Warriors, so it's a pass there. Wizards, Raptors, another series that I'd love to see the Wizards be competitive. I don't know that they will. Toronto should be on fire for the first couple games of the series. Pelicans, Blazers. This is a toss up. A lot of people like New Orleans, but I'm going to tell you right now, my sleeper team is the Portland Trailblazers. I like Lillard a ton. I think he's so underappreciated in the course of the league. I like uh, Nurkic. I like McCollum. I like that bench there. I think the Blazers will find a way to win this series, but I think it could go 7. It should be a fun one there. Bucks, Celtics. I'm going to pick an upset here. I'm going to go Milwaukee. I think they'll beat the Boston Celtics. I just think the Celtics has just been year after year just disappointment from this team. I mean, and it's not really their fault. It's injuries. I mean, Gordon Hayward, first game of the year, Kyrie Irving, Marcus Smart. I mean, it's just been injury after injury. And this Bucks team is upstart. I think they're another team that's going to have a really great home court advantage when they're there. I think it'll go a pretty deep series. I'm willing to take a shot that Milwaukee and Giannis Antetokounmpo will get the job done here. Pacers, Cavs. Blackjack Fletcher told me he likes the Pacers to win this series, and I don't disagree with him. Victor Oladipo has been very good all season. Guys like Sabonis have stepped up, and just random guys. Donnie, would you agree that this is the worst Cavs team since like the Mo Williams teams?
Yeah, yeah. No, there's not a lot of depth and not a lot of players out there for obviously outside of the best player in the world at this time. But you're right. No, it's not a team that you said like if LeBron has an off night, they get whacked.
And this team, guys, is second worst in the league in defensive efficiency. The only team worse, the Phoenix Suns. I mean, they're a bad, bad, bad defensive team. Um, I, I don't think that's out of the question that the Patriots can win this. At plus 450, 5-1, I'm looking towards Indiana. Jazz Thunder. I think the Jazz are a trendy team. I think that they're a very good team, very good defensively, but the Thunder, another team that I think are going to make a bit of a run here as well. I that three-headed monster they have there with Steven Adams as well. I just think that's going to be a tough matchup for Utah. It'll probably go deep. I think it goes 6 probably, but I think the Thunder will win this series. And obviously, I mentioned I'm on the Rockets to sweep Minnesota Timberwolves. Donnie, anything you're on that you like or you want to talk about?
No, I'm just interested in the Sixers. I'm not the hugest NBA guy, but I can tell you this, what a shift from when we were growing up or even a couple of years ago. Every one of the 8 games that are lined, Jeff, this is playoff basketball, over 200. It's amazing to see the evolution of the offensive level in the game of the NBA right now. Used to be when you got to the playoffs, people clamped down, played extra hard on defense, refs swallowed their whistles, see a lot of 90 to like 85 type games. That's not today's NBA game anymore. Every single game lined over 200, with a lot of them, Jeff, sitting over 210.
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean there are a lot of high numbers anymore, and that's just kind of the
Yeah.
the landscape of the league. A lot of threes, a lot of poor defense. Yeah, no, you're totally right, Donnie. One other thing before we go, check out my NASCAR video I did on SBR. We got some good stuff. Bristol's a fun track, Donnie. It's a short track, so there's going to be a lot of traffic, a lot of close quarter racing. I took two guys 12-1, and then I took Kyle Busch as well. So make sure you check out that video. Should be a fun race. Always a toss up at Bristol, but we're actually going to race an hour earlier due to weather concerns. So should be a fun one there. I'm sure there'll be a lot of mix ups and stuff like that. We welcome everyone and appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully, you enjoyed the show. We went over every baseball game. We went over some NBA, talked about the series. If anyone else is doing that, let me know. There's not many people doing it. How much does that Golden State starting at noon affect these games? They never
Yeah, it's a
play
good
that
call.
early.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is a good call. I think the Spurs will bother them a bit. Do I want to take a shot with them to win this series? I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's a horrible bet, but I just don't know. Donnie, anything on the NHL? You like anything there?
No, I haven't really taken a look at the NHL today. Obviously, wrapped up looking forward to the Flyers tomorrow, but there are 4 games. So, I mean, you have Major League Baseball today, Jeff, NBA and NHL all throughout the card. San Jose, Anaheim, Toronto, Boston, Colorado, and the Preds going at it, as well as the Devils and the Lightning. So it should be an interesting day. Again, heavy favorites if you're at home, Jeff. You're looking at Tampa Bay, you're going to pay a price of 230. If you're looking at Nashville today, Jeff, how about this one? Minus 300 at Chris. So big lines across the board here in the NHL today.
Yeah, I'm at the point, Donnie, where I'm close to getting a Vegas Golden Knights T-shirt because I do have a
Mm,
future on that group. I actually stayed up and watched
mm.
that last night. I don't watch hockey, but I'll tell you what, it was pretty interesting. I think it was the
Cool.
third longest playoff game in history as far as length. Very deep. I didn't end till about 2:30 a.m. It was good game. Very good stuff. But everyone have a great night. Hopefully, you enjoy your Saturday and Sunday. We'll be back on Monday morning with the right side of campus, 10 a.m. Eastern. I'm sure Donnie will bust out another interesting shirt. I'll
Yeah,
stick
why
to the
not?
Puma. I'll stick to the Puma tracksuits. Actually, you know what? I'll bust out a shirt on Monday as well. A long ode to a team that was very good to me this year. We'll do that. Everyone have a great night. As far as for me, I'll go with one. I'll go Pittsburgh first 5 minus a half. I'm going to go with that one against Trevor Richards, who again is working on his pitches. Not exactly one thing you want to do when you're coming into the major leagues. Donnie, you want to leave anyone with anything? I know
Yeah,
you're
you know what? I am going to
fading.
go with one. The one I mentioned earlier, it's a Philadelphia game, obviously 929, 930, excuse me, 929, 930, 610 start. I'm going to go on the under first 5 innings, Jeff. Under 4 in that Tampa Bay Rays, Philadelphia Phillies game. I can't see between the two teams getting the 5 runs over the first 5 with these two pitchers here. I think it'll be a slower down, maybe a 1-0, maybe 2-1 maximum with that. I'm going to go under, Jeff, in that Tampa Bay Phillies game. First 5 only in that one, under 4.
Very good. Donnie, also, we didn't get your opinion. Generally, big news stories will make a quick point of it. Your
Right.
thoughts on the little skirmish last night with Syria. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, look, I'm all about being in the United States, right, Jeff? I believe we should worry about our own problems than something a few thousand miles away. Do I like it on a moral stance, Jeff, where, dude, you can't gas up kids. You can't just bomb your own people with,
Yes.
out mercy,
Yeah.
whatever it is. But on the flip side, Jeff, I'm one that says, look, they've been battling over there for thousands of years. They're going to battle, Jeff, for thousands of more years. They'll handle it themselves. But again, the moral compass comes in a lot that says, dude, man, you can't gas up you kids that are unprotected out there and can't defend themselves. So I'm sort of at this toss up. I just wish we never get involved in this stuff, honestly, though.
I will say this. I find it very fascinating that and we've seen it throughout the many years of like news and things like that, of like the difference in opinion from one country to another. So like, the president comes out and says, "Mission accomplished!" Exclamation point. We've executed perfectly executed things. So he says one thing, and then you go over to like Syrian state TV, and you have
Yeah.
like them, and they're like dancing around. They're like, "Oh yeah, they didn't even do nothing. We already knew they were coming." And it's interesting the propaganda that is thrown throughout the world. Like, we don't want to admit that we were hit or what, and maybe they weren't. But news is interesting. It's a fascinating thing as far as how things are given out and stuff like that. But hopefully the world will fix itself, and
Mhm.
we could see happiness throughout the world, Donnie. That's all I
Yes.
ask for.
Peace.
Everyone have a great night. We appreciate you tuning in. Thanks to Larry for coming in on a Saturday. Larry, one of the most underappreciated people at SBR, and I'm not going to let it
On a
happen any
Saturday.
longer, Don. Larry
Yeah, you
Hoover, a
can't you
guy
can't let
that,
it go on any longer, Jeff. Yes.
and I'll admit, I mean, I like Wanma, I like Johan, I like Matt Tesaro, I like all those guys. But I got to tell you, Donnie, Larry Hoover's probably my favorite person at SBR. He's a
Yeah,
no
and
nonsense
I mean,
guy.
Jeff, he does not go underappreciated. He is in rap music songs, Jeff. He is the
Yeah.
tagline. So,
Yes, and I've asked him before, do you actually know who Larry Hoover is? And I want to ask him as we're wrapping up. Larry, do you know who Larry Hoover is?
You told me before, but I had no idea who the guy was.
Okay, yeah, he basically he founded the Gangster Disciples. They're a big time gang in Chicago. He's serving 6 life sentences in the ADX in Colorado. He's, obviously one of the, as far as legendary gangsters are concerned, he's one of the highest levels. And he was mentioned famously in a Rick Ross song, where Rick Ross basically said, "I think I'm Big Meech, Larry Hoover."
Mhm.
Like, he was basically an
Yep.
ode to Larry Hoover, who is currently incarcerated. So yeah, you're named after a high level Chicago street gang leader who founded one of
Yes.
the longest tenured gangs in the country. So
Yep.
congratulations.
Yep. There you go.
Other than that,
Learn something
thanks,
new
Larry.
every day here, Jeff. Yeah.
Yes. Other than that, Larry, thanks for all your help. We appreciate you. Everyone have a great night. We'll see you Monday here on the right side of campus. Bye bye.